Hello everyone, this is the Bitcoin Cash weekly news update for May 29th, 2020. I may start doing these monthly rather than weekly because there's so much happening and I have so many things pulling for my attention, but lots of great news every week and certainly every month. So this week, one of the biggest pieces of news I think is that more than 100 addresses from 2009, so 100 early Bitcoin addresses signed a message saying that Craig Stephen Wright is a liar and a fraud. He doesn't have the keys used to sign this message. And these were all keys that Craig had submitted to the court saying that those were his addresses there. So apparently I'm not the only one out there calling Craig Stephen Wright a liar and a fraud. But in relation to that, he just lost his lawsuit against me in the UK. And now he has to pay all of my legal fees for that. And I'm going to ask that he pays me in Bitcoin Cash. So I'll provide my Bitcoin Cash address to Craig, and he can pay me in Bitcoin Cash for all the legal fees that I had to incur defending his frivolous lawsuit. For those that don't know, he's busy engaging in frivolous lawsuits against people all over the world. Myself, Vitalik Buterin, CZ, on and on and on. Really a shame that he wants to use the force of the state because people say not nice things about him on the internet that are true. Craig very clearly, undisputably, is a liar and a fraud. So, Craig, if you don't want people to call you a liar and a fraud, apologize for your previous lies and your previous fraudulent things, and then stop doing them in the future, and you won't have that problem anymore. Also about that, so those more than 100 addresses from 2009, they also call for on-chain scaling right there, right? So BTC, up to this point, has not had really hardly any on-chain scaling. You could make an argument potentially that SegWit is a little bit of on-chain scaling. But this message from just earlier this week, a few days ago, is calling for more. We need to, and I quote, we need to continue working on improving on-chain capacity. So that means that there needs to be more on-chain scaling. Sounds like the owner of that, more than 100 2009 Bitcoin addresses is a big fan of Bitcoin Cash today if he's advocating for on-chain scaling capacity. And he also says, unfortunately, the solution is not to just change a constant in the code or allow powerful participants to force others out. So that sounds like a bit of a jab at Calvin and Craig there as well. So, and that other version of Bitcoin that's out there. So anyhow, nice to see another early Bitcoin adopter. Probably seems to be a fan of Bitcoin Cash out there. So another more recent Bitcoin adopter we saw on Twitter, Liberty.Crayons, said, I just spent $10 USD to send $16 worth of BTC. WTF, right? And so that's an example, like people don't realize, or people are starting to realize that the fees are high on Bitcoin by intentional design. And we saw another guy, David Bond. I really like this guy in the space. He tweeted out earlier this week, it was, when the fee is too high, they mock me for not knowing how to set my own fee. When I set my own fee and then post about being unconfirmed for 4 days, they mock me for setting the fee too low. You know what doesn't have this problem? Bitcoin Cash. Well, he's exactly right about that, and I've experienced it myself. I know how to set custom fees. I know how the fee market works. I know all that. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I had another big transaction that got stuck for a number of hours, and I had to pay another like $30 to a mining pool. I paid them in Bitcoin Cash. They accept Bitcoin Cash and credit cards to get your Bitcoin transactions unstuck. So David's right. You know what doesn't have those problems? Bitcoin Cash, and that's why more and more people around the world are switching to using Bitcoin Cash, because as the very first person other than Satoshi to be put in charge of the Bitcoin project software repository, Gavin Anderson, said, a more plausible theory is that BTC was hijacked by a corporation named Blockstream and by hiring key developers and heavily censoring discussions. So it's not saying that happened for sure, but that's a pretty a more plausible theory than a lot of these other things out there. So other fun news that people really got excited about. So Aegon is this just absolutely amazingly prolific poster out there. He's on Twitter and he's on Reddit and he's all over the place and just posting. I really enjoy a lot of the posts that he makes there. I just don't know how he has the time and energy to do all that. But he mentioned, oh, Bitcoin.com should offer an email service to send Bitcoin Cash. And I said, sure, no problem. And then people got a little bit overly excited and they thought that it was going to be like a full-on Gmail service where you can log into your, at Bitcoin.com email address and have your own email account. Maybe we'll do that someday, but that's not in the cards for this week or even this month. But what we are going to enable, and it should be out within a couple of days after this video goes online, is you'll be able to send Bitcoin Cash to any email address, anybody, you know, with an email address. So you can send it to your Gmail, your Hotmail, your Proton Mail, your, you know, any mail address out there. You'll be able to send Bitcoin Cash right there to them on chain in a non-custodial manner. The funds you're sending will be just as safe as your own email address and the recipient's email address are. So don't send $1 million, but you could probably send, you know, even a few $1,000s would probably be just fine there. So anyhow, stay tuned. I think we'll launch that at send.bitcoin.com. You can do it manually right now over at gifts.bitcoin.com. You can make a gift, grab an image of that, and then just toss it in an email to whoever you want to pay. In fact, I've been doing that for weeks already, sending Bitcoin Cash to people via email all over the place. So really fantastic, another tool coming out there. Another thing that just happened here, somebody that I don't know sent me a video of a vending machine in Hong Kong being used to where you can buy things out of the vending machine using cryptocurrency. And it accepted Bitcoin Cash, of course, Ethereum, Binance Coin, and I think 2 other ones. And I should have pulled it up so I could give them credit in this video here. And the name's escaping me, but we'll put a link down below. Anyhow, it's a company I have nothing to do with. And the real big question that the internet went wild for, why don't they accept Bitcoin? Well, the reason they don't accept Bitcoin is because the fees are, you know, $3, $5, $10. If you're selling stuff out of a vending machine, you can't have $3, $5, or $10 fees for it. So they didn't even bother to add Bitcoin in there. And then these Bitcoin core maximalist brainwashed zombies accused me of having paid them off not to add Bitcoin. I have nothing to do with the company. Look around the world. And we just saw Brave browser. I'm you know, looking at my notes here on Brave browser. Fantastic browser. Upgrade to it if you haven't already. They have their token, the BAT, Basic Attention Token. It's on Ethereum. Why is it not on Bitcoin? Because they strangled the block size on Bitcoin. In fact, they even openly said so. The Brave browser guy said on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that they would have built everything on top of Bitcoin if the block size hadn't been limited on Bitcoin. So here's a browser that I think has tens of millions of users around the world. Who knows how many daily active users, an incredibly powerful tool that could have driven Bitcoin adoption. Instead, it's driving Ethereum adoption, which is great, you know, good for Ethereum, but what a lost opportunity for Bitcoin. And then the Bitcoin guys like are attacking them and mocking them for it. So I love my Brave browser. I wish I had upgraded from Chrome sooner than I actually did. So if you don't have Brave, go and grab that. And it has a wallet, you know, you can tip people built right into the browser there with your basic attention tokens. It's really a cool feature there. So anyhow, people all over the world are accepting Bitcoin Cash for payments. They're stopping to use Bitcoin because the fees are too high. So, and we're seeing that all over the world. Australia, Europe, Hong Kong, all over the place because Bitcoin Cash works and works really, really well. Another example of how Bitcoin's been strangled. There's now more than 4 times as many Bitcoins being transacted on Ethereum than there are in the Lightning Network. And that number is growing for Ethereum every single day. That number's been, you know, stalled on Bitcoin's Lightning Network for forever, for at least 18 months at this point. So again, here we are seeing Ethereum become the layer 2 scaling solution for Bitcoin, but eventually people are going to figure out, well, if I can't even transact in Bitcoin directly and I have to use these other solutions like Ethereum, a Lightning Network that you can't send small payments for when the fees are high and you can't send big payments on because there's not enough liquidity, no one's going to use that. People are going to use things like Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum and on and on and on. So, and another sign of the times there in regards to that is the SLP Token Foundation. The SLP Foundation announced their launch this week. So really, really big deal. A new grassroots open source foundation working to grow the SLP token ecosystem. For those that don't know, SLP tokens are built on top of Bitcoin Cash. The transactions are super fast, cheap, reliable. Stefan Rust, Peter Joey Wong, and a number of others are leading that team to help foster a healthy environment for growth and innovation with the SLP ecosystem. If you haven't tried SLP tokens yet, head on over to mint.bitcoin.com. You can make your own token in like 20 seconds with your own icon and link to your website, and you can be up and running and pay dividends to your token holders. It's really a fantastic tool there. Another example of how this ecosystem is growing, Be.cash, be.cash, just launched a new website. You can visit and see all the interesting upcoming stuff that they're doing over there. So great work to those guys. Another example, Coinbase launched their Bitcoin Cash BCHD Explorer. So Coinbase is releasing open source tools on top of the Bitcoin Cash platform. We saw recently, you know, loudmouth Tone Vase claimed that I must have paid off that company in Hong Kong not to use Bitcoin. No, and they called it an obscure altcoin or some phrase like that. Bitcoin Cash is the 4th most popular cryptocurrency in the entire world in terms of market cap, and it's the 2nd or 3rd, depending on the day of the week, in terms of transactions transacted each day. So it's not some obscure altcoin. It is also shown by the fact that Coinbase is building open source tools for it. We have open source cash fusion here as well. That's enabling privacy on top of Bitcoin Cash. Around $10 million worth of Bitcoin Cash has been shuffled using Cash Fusion there. So if you don't have it already, go and pick up the Cash Fusion app. It's built right into the Electron Cash wallet there as well. And in fact, almost 10,000 SLP tokens have been created as well. Almost 1 million transactions have been utilized on the network. It's close to 10,000 transactions in a week. Really, really amazing, with Bitcoin meetups happening all over the world, for everywhere from India to Japan to Thailand to Singapore to the US to Australia to Korea, worldwide. And if you don't have one in your town already, go and set one up. It's a really, really big deal and a fantastic way to help spread Bitcoin Cash adoption around the world, because we don't care what cryptocurrency or what ticker symbol it has that brings more peer-to-peer electronic cash and economic freedom to the world. But the reason we love Bitcoin Cash is because we think it's the one that's the most likely to achieve that. But if it was something, some other coin some other day, we'd be busy supporting that one, because the goal isn't Bitcoin Cash adoption for the world. The goal is peer-to-peer electronic permissionless cash for the world, and Bitcoin Cash has the best shot at doing that. So that's why so many people around the world recognize that and are building tools on top of Bitcoin Cash. So anyhow, that's the weekly news. Maybe I'll be back next week. Maybe if not next week, then I'll be back by the end of the month at the very least. I'll do these at least once a month. So thank you all. Share this video, share this message, and more importantly, share Bitcoin Cash with a friend. See you all next week.